Hi, I'm Cole Spivey. I'll be reading from the New York Times. Unsure where Hurricane Dorian will strike, all of Florida gets ready. And I wanted to show you a photo. So it was published on August 29th, but it was updated on September 2nd this morning, just a few hours ago. So it was updated 2 hours ago. This is about Miami. Workers in Palm Beach, Florida, preparing for Hurricane Dorian, which has been forecasted to make landfall as Category 4 storm. Miami, as Hurricane Dorian plowed toward the Florida coast on Thursday, the predictions became more dire and the preparation more urgent, the disruptions more immediate. By the time the storm makes landfall on Monday, forecasters warned it could be extremely powerful. Category 4 hurricane, which sustained winds of 130 miles per hour, driving a deadly storm surge and causing catastrophic damage. Exactly where that would happen was still unclear, so Florida's entire Atlantic coast was on alert Thursday, with the residents from Miami to Jacksonville crowding sandbag filling stations and rushing to grocery stores. So this is the latest coverage of Hurricane Dorian. It looks like Thanksgiving, said Elizabeth Reddery, who works at a public supermarket in Fort Pierce. It didn't look like this yesterday. They were buying everything you can think of, but mostly water. If the forecast holds, Dorian would be the first hurricane of Category 4 or higher to make landfall on Florida's east coast since 1992, when Andrew, a Category 5 storm, ripped through the Miami area. But with Dorian spinning and gathering energy about 300 miles northwest of Puerto Rico on Thursday evening, its likely route toward the Bahamas and then the United States mainland remained maddeningly difficult to pin down with any precision. It's too early to make decisions about evacuations, said Mayor Lenny Curry of Jacksonville. We may very well find ourselves at some point in the next 24 or 48 hours calling for evacuations, depending on what the storm does. I want to show you another picture. So the lady there appears to be loading some gasoline into the back of a truck along with some butane. Residents across Florida were stocking up on fuel and water on Thursday in preparations for Hurricane Dorian. The photo was taken by Saul Martinez for the New York Times. Even so, Dorian's impact was already being felt as Floridians scraped their Labor Day weekend plans and nervously checked the latest forecast. A football game between Florida State and Boise State, scheduled for Saturday evening in Jacksonville, was moved west to Tallahassee and rescheduled for earlier in the day. A Rolling Stones concert in the Miami area that was planned for Saturday night was moved up to Friday, the band announced. And President Trump, who had been planning to travel to Poland for a commemoration of the outbreak of World War II, said Thursday afternoon about the commemoration that he was canceling that particular trip. Our highest priority is the safety and security of the people and the path of the hurricane, Mr. Trump said. Forecasting Dorian has been a meteorological struggle for days now. Puerto Rico has been bracing for a direct hit on Wednesday, but the storm skirted the island eastern end. And Wednesday it was announced that instead of hammering St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands, where some surprised residents scrambled to install some shutters in time. Rain kept falling on Puerto Rico on Thursday, leading to some flooding. Before the storm reached St. Thomas, the National Weather Service was predicting that it would eventually strengthen to a Category 2 by the time it reached Florida. By Thursday morning, the agency was talking about Category 4 and a possible landfall as far up the coast as southeastern Georgia through Florida still seemed likely. These storms, they're just very sensitive to small changes, said Brian McNulty, a hurricane researcher at the University of Miami. I wanted to show you this page too right here, this photo. You can clearly see there that most of the water is gone. So when you get news of these hurricanes, go get the water quick. A supermarket was running very low on water in Lake Worth on Thursday. Some forecast models suggest a direct blow to central Florida on Monday. Others foresaw the storm veering to the north or the south. At least one projection suggested that Dorian could stall just off the Florida coast, delaying landfall past Monday. It all depends on this dance of the pressure systems around the storm, said Hugh Willoughby, a meteorologist at Florida International University in Miami. He said he expected a major hurricane landfall somewhere between where I'm sitting and the Georgia border, almost 400 miles to the north. Because of the uncertainty about where the storm would hit, Governor Ron DeSantis extended an emergency declaration to all 67 Florida counties as preparation to continue up and down the Atlantic coast. The Daytona Beach city crews cleared storm drains and reduced the water levels in retention ponds to make more room for runoff. At Port Canaveral, boats captains were warned not to wait too long to enter shelter waters, and Brevard County, East Orlando, jail inmates filled sandbags for residents. I wanted to show you that how people were helping there, and here are some of the inmates that are actually doing some community work, that they're actually putting to work. So that's probably going to be some good time for them. Maybe knock a few years off their time served. So closing the cancellations were already being announced. The University of Central Florida in Orlando said it would close from Friday evening through at least Tuesday. At Bethune-Cookman University in Dayton Beach, a mandatory campus evacuation was set to take off on Friday, with classes called off until further notice. Vero Beach officials announced that the city's parks and beaches would soon close. But even as officials urged action, they said it was too soon to panic. If you have a very difficult to assemble shutters, said Mario Carlos Aguimarez of Miami-Dade County, maybe it's time to start putting a couple of them up. Don't put them all up yet. An Exxon station in Melbourne, though public concern was evident, all-day vehicles were lined up, bumper to bumper, waiting to fill up. The station sold more gasoline in 4 hours on Thursday than it had all day Tuesday, said Ashley Presnell, an employee who described the scene as an absolute madhouse. I've never seen it this bad, Ms. Presnell said. You would think the world is ending right now. Okay, so Patricia Mazie reported from Miami, Mitch Smith from Chicago, and Nicholas Bogle Burrows from New York. They all reported with Katie Rogers contributing a report from Washington. And this was updated 2 hours ago for the New York Times. Thank you.